CFA is one of the most respected certification in finance. But here's the truth. CFA alone is not enough to get you into investment banking. We have seen a lot of students believe that clearing CFA levels is direct entry into investment banking. Even I thought the same. But when I applied, I got rejected multiple times. It was 17 rejections in just 1 week. So when I was in my second year of graduation, I started doing equity research internship. And being into equity research, I got understanding about IPOs and M&As, and that is where my instinct for investment banking got generated, and I wanted to get into it. Now most of my colleagues and whatever I got on the internet made me understand that CFA was very important to get into the industry, and getting that information from all around, I also enrolled for CFA. So I cleared my CFA level 1 alongside my graduation. I had 2 internships with me, and I also had good scores in my college graduation. So now I thought that who could stop me from getting into investment banking? But little did I know about that. After doing my graduation, I started preparing for CFA level 2, and at the same time started applying for jobs out there. Whatever companies I got on the internet, I started applying to those companies. And the companies that I got revert from was all rejection. Now in that situation, I also could not clear my CFA level 2, and at that time I was very demotivated on what's next steps to be done. Now that is when I started talking to people who are already there in the industry. Now this time I was not talking to people who were there in JP's, Goldman, or the big banks out there. I started talking to people who were there in boutique and mid markets, understanding how they navigated their career journey. And luckily and gratefully, I made a lot of mentors who supported me, gave me guidance on what are the steps that I need to follow apart from just doing CFA to get into the industry. Then I broke into investment banking. It was around 6 to 8 months of preparation on my skills, on my communication, on my understanding about investment banking. In this video, we are going to understand about all of those things on CFA, on what is investment banking, where does CFA help you, and where it does not. So hello there, my name is Karan Team. I am an ex-investment banker turned founder, and through Encoding Careers, we help you break into investment banking the right way. So let's get started with the first point on what is CFA. So CFA is a globally recognized certification focused on core financial knowledge. It covers 10 different subjects mostly related to finance like equity, fixed income, derivatives, portfolio management, alternatives, and others. So the goal of CFA is to build strong conceptual understanding and also make you practically think on how these concepts can be applied in some way or the another for different roles like asset management, equity research, portfolio management, right? These are the core that investment that CFA is going to help you towards. So be doing CFA, it will be teaching you how to value different securities, how the markets work, equity markets, capital markets, how to think from investors perspective when you are doing portfolio management, right? So CFA is going to build your knowledge base but not necessarily your execution ability, because it is going to teach you in parts. Now let's understand about what is investment banking. So investment banking is about helping companies raise capital through equity capital markets or debt capital markets, or advising upon merger or acquisition transactions. It is entirely deal driven industry, not just analysis driven. So the key activities in investment banking includes IPO execution, mergers or acquisition advisory, debt capital raising, valuation plus debt structuring. Now, the biggest difference between CFA and investment banking is that in CFA, you are analyzing investment and understanding financial concepts, but in investment banking, you are executing transactions. So, here you are required to coordinate with clients, work with lawyers, consultants, understand about their language. You are managing multiple deal types at once, multiple timelines at once, and you are delivering under pressure. So if we understand, investment banking is a mix of finance, strategy, communication, and execution. Now let's understand where CFA actually helps you in investment banking. So CFA does help in investment banking, no doubt, right? So it teaches you about valuation concepts like DCF, which is discounted cash flow. It helps you understand how to calculate WACC, which is weighted average cost of capital. It explains you both the elements, cost of equity, cost of debt, beta, and all the elements that are needed, which are crux of valuation, FCFE, FCFF, which is very important when you are doing valuation of any kind of business or asset. It also helps you understand about financial statements, which is very important to understand when you are working with businesses, right? And investment banking is all about that. You are definitely going to work with lot of businesses. It could be small startups, SMEs, big companies, and for that you need to understand how these financial statements work. And most important part, it also teaches you market knowledge. There are subjects like equity capital markets, economics, which builds your understanding on how the market is going to work. Now, market overall means financial markets, right? The stock markets, which shows overall cycles that are happening in the industry. And CFA does teach you on the conceptual side of how these terms can impact on the market. So when you analyze different metrics that are actually there in the industry, you can understand how it is going to implement and how the market will move. For an example, if the government raises interest rates, this way CFA will help you understand what are the different impacts of this interest rate rise, and that way you could understand what it actually implements in the real world scenario. So it will implement that the debt capital markets will become tighter, because now the liquidity that is available in the market will reduce, because most of the people will not give money away to people out there, and they will put the money into the bank, because now bank is going to give higher interest rate. And because of this, the stock markets might also fall, because not a lot of money is put into the companies out there. That is how you can interpret of how the conceptual knowledge is going to be implemented in real world. So here CFA is definitely going to teach on the conceptual side, but it is going to teach you in pieces, right? And investment banking requires integration, right? So here, as I said, here as we discussed, that investment banking is all about deal and execution and transaction, which is a step by step process that you need to follow. And you, if you just learn one piece of it, then you might not be able to work upon the entire deal. So now you would have a question in the mind, so should I actually do CFA? So here we are not advising on doing CFA or not doing CFA. We are here to just clarify on what are the aspects of CFA that actually helps for investment banking. And when we talk about all the 10 subjects, all of them are not going to help you for investment banking. The six subjects that that are most relevant and can be connected to investment banking are: number one, equity; number two, financial statement analysis or FSA; number three, corporate issuers; number four, economics; number five, fixed income; and number six, alternative investment. Subjects that are apart from these six are not directly relevant for investment banking. And if you just study these subjects, then you might be a good to go person for getting into investment banking, because there you don't need to have detailed understanding of every aspect of financial subjects, right? You need to only know what is relevant for investment banking, and it helps you execute upon things that are going to be in front of you. Now, from the above point, we understood where CFA does help, right? It help gives you conceptual knowledge. It teaches you on valuation, free cash flow, WAC, and all of the subjects that are going to aid you in your preparation for investment banking. Now, the elements that CFA does not help are: number one, valuation. Valuation in investment banking is just one part of the entire deal, right? And most of the people on the internet have hyped about financial modeling, valuation as the only element that is needed in investment banking. So IB deals are not just about that. It may be like 20 to 30% of the entire work that you would do on a particular deal. So here you need to work upon other investment banking skills apart from just valuation, which is building pitch decks and presentation, which is very, very important. And trust me, no AI tool has ever been still yet not been able to make replace this entire pitch deck and presentation building, because they don't have the capacity of telling a story and presenting things in a very aligned way, which most of the investment banks would be needing. And here, if you have the skills of building pitch decks, presentation, and storytelling through them, then trust me, your skills will be more valued by these investment banks, and they would be happy to have you hired. So in this pitch decks, you need to concise the business information, which would be so many documents, into structured presentation pages. And you need to present your valuation and other financial aspects in charts and graph format, which is a separate skill overall, and no, and CFA does not teach you this. Then you need to also understand how to research an industry, because when you enter into investment banking, you are going to work in separate teams. So if you are working in coverage team, you need to have detailed understanding about one particular industry, and here you are going to work upon finding different opportunities out there in this particular industry for different types of deals. And if you know how to research an industry and how to find opportunities, you are going to be the best fit for them. Understanding of processes of IPO, mergers and acquisition, are also very important, because that will give interviewer understanding that if we hire you, you can directly start working upon things, and we would not take a lot of time to train you upon things. Then finally, on the closing element and the execution side, you need to understand how due diligence works and how the term sheets are structured, right? So these are all the skills other than just working on valuation that are that are very, very important whenever you are going for these interviews, because a question might come upon any of these things and you need to be prepared for it. Now, these all the skills mentioned are on the technical side. Apart from that, also you need skills on the soft side, which are communication, which is your ability to structure things and explain it in a simple language. Then your ability to handle client by showcasing your interpersonal skills, how you present yourself, how you build that trust and confidence in your clients. Then your attention to detail is an industry which is very attentive to detail. If you miss out on a particular slide, if the numbers are error, then it might cost you entire deal also. And in your interviews also, if you're not able to portray that you are attentive to detail, miss out on chances of cracking the interview. Projects that you work upon, how you present yourself, groom yourself, make sure everything is up to the mark. And finally, your ability to work under pressure. Now this is going to be very important. CFA does aid you on working under pressure because you have to complete a huge amount of syllabus in a short period of time. But in investment banking, the pressure would be more higher than just cracking an exam, because here you are not putting yourself out there in front of people. But in investment banking, you are there with your clients, you are there with your seniors, and you are always out there doing things and making things happen, and the stakes are also very high. So that work under pressure is very separate from what you do in CFA. Finally, discussing about the reality of interview, you are not just going to be tested upon definition like what is DCF, what is WAC, but you are going to be tested upon your logic and the ability to answer in a structured way. Most of the people that we have communication with are not even just getting interviews because they have not aligned their resumes. But once you get the interviews, there also you need to showcase them that apart from conceptual knowledge, you have understanding of the structured and logical flow of things. So for an example, interviewer might ask you, what do you understand by merger or acquisition? Okay, merger or acquisition, two companies merge, acquisition is one company is buying one. So that is not what they are expecting. They are expecting the entire process of how a merger or acquisition works. What are the things that investment banker would do in these kind of situations, right? So having that deep understanding would be very important. If you want to understand about M&A, then you can definitely check out our previous videos where we have covered the entire thing. So now, if CFA is not enough, what actually do you need to do to break into investment banking? So now, connecting once again my story. So after I had failed my applications and got so many rejections, talking to people out there was the only thing that I could do. After having conversation with like 50 to 100 people who are working in investment banking, I understood that it is very important to build foundation for it. Like understanding what actually investment bankers do is what will be very very important to understand the landscape and to see if you are a right fit for it. Understand what are roles and responsibility, what are challenges, benefits, how the entire growth ladder works in the industry. Then start upskilling yourself. Understand what are the soft skills, what are the right hard skills that you need to work. We just discussed all of them in the video itself. And finally, make yourself job ready. And most people miss out upon this, where they upskill themselves. They think that I'll build 1 to 2 projects and that's how I become ready for industry. That's not the reality. You need to make yourself job ready. Your resume has to be aligned to the perfection. There was one candidate was having discussion with, and he missed out on aligning the timelines in his resume on work experience side, and because of that he was rejected. He got the feedback on the resume because he went through a referral, or else you won't even get these kind of feedback on what needs to be improved. So then he improved on the timelines and definitely got another opportunity, but that attention to detail was missed out, and he was not given the opportunity. So your CV has to be well aligned. You need to be prepared for interviews, and the most important element is your application strategy. Now, I made a mistake of directly applying to companies which were available on internet, and on the internet you will only find top investment banking companies like Goldman's, JP's, or the companies that have grown to great heights and do very big deals. Now, as a fresher, as a starter, it is very difficult to get started into these kind of companies. So you need to find companies that where you have high chances of getting interviews, which are boutiques, small boutiques and mid markets, not available on the internet, but you need to definitely search out for it. And once you apply there, then you need to make sure that you crack the interview. So it's a long step by step process that you need to follow, and that is how you get into investment banking. So to help you understand where you exactly stand in this entire process, we have created a free investment banking assessment checklist, and this covers different aspects like your conceptual understanding, your preparation on skills, your understanding on the deal side, your interview readiness, resume scores, and it will give you a scoring out of 10, and you will clearly see your gap on the entire process to follow. If you want to start this assessment, there's a link in the description which will take you to the website, and you can easily go through the entire assessment. And if you need my help or our team's help on how to improve on those gaps, you can book a one-on-one call also with our team, and we would be happy to guide you for the same. Finally, CFA is a great starting point, but having a wrong expectation that after completing all the three levels or completing two levels, I'll get into investment banking is a wrong expectation, right? It's not a complete journey. If you focus upon building real skills along with concepts, that's when you actually become ready for investment banking. And you need to start implementing the three-step process of building foundation, upskilling, and becoming job ready. And that's what is core for getting into investment banking or any other career path. If you found this video valuable, do consider liking this video. Do let us know your recommendation on what kind of videos should we create for you guys so that you get clarity on your career path. And also make sure that you click on the subscribe button. It's free of cost. So that is it for this video. Until then, this is Karan taking your leave.